Mr. President, we just came from a combined armed exercise, and you are also mentioning security more than 100% in Rwanda, in a context that in the region things are moving, in the region where we are not, I would say, where the security of some of our citizens have been threatened in some circumstances, and some people threatening outside Rwanda. I think maybe it's an opportunity to tell us more what you meant by more than 100% secured. And also on the same, I would say the same question, could you give us more clarity in our future relationship with South Africa, while we see in the media that there could be some elements trying to derail the normalization? And while we are on there, do you have any comment on the exchange of some heads of states that have been leaked through social media in the region?
That kind of exercise is not the first of its kind. It's one in a series of them that have taken place every year, in actual fact. And it happens normally after some of our forces have been in that place doing training. So the exercise follows a period of training of armed forces, as was the case last time. So on that point, it's normal, it's routine. It's the way it happens for a long time. If you're talking about that happening in a time when other things are happening, that's when I could tell you that whatever that is, it wasn't our plan. It isn't our plan that the things are happening against us. It's a routine that keep doing things, but if they coincide with when a number of things are happening, then that's maybe why you would raise such a question, or even what I said was partly routine, and some of it coincided with what was happening. Ordinarily, the armed forces are there to defend the country, the sovereignty of a country. They are there and they must prepare, they must train, they must be equipped, they must. So that's what we do, like any other country does. You know very well FDLR, that is still scattered across the region, outside of borders. Then there are other groups that have come up and joined them, initially something else. And I've heard of something called RNC, I've heard of, they have all kinds of names, I can't remember all of them. All I know is that and when it comes to us, to our history, we don't take any security challenge lightly. We don't. Do they say beaten once, twice shy? So we have had our taste of it. We wouldn't want to be found wanting in terms of taking care of that security business. Big or small, we'll take care of it. But our job is simple. Our job is not to get involved in other people's business or affairs or security or politics or something. Our business is straightforward. It is to mind our business and make sure that we deal with our challenges here in the country. Even those who threaten our security, we are humble enough to understand our limits and limitations. So we stick to doing things here in our country. We will wait for that problem here. We don't need to pursue that across any border. We have done that many years ago because that was the only alternative we had. But since then and going forward, I don't see that coming up. Those who can handle it at their level handle it. It's confusing in a sense that it also, in a way, relates to one point I've made in the first explanation, because it was brought to my attention, something was said by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of South Africa in some interview from nowhere, because I don't know what sparked it, where I was saying she met, whether she invited people or whether she went to them, I don't know, but she met the RNC people, some of whom live in South Africa, and it has been a problem we have discussed for a long time with the South African government. And I thought that was being taken care of on the side, and so that it doesn't really interfere with the most important things we should be doing together as countries. So we were not even pursuing anything. We were not bothered because we had raised it enough and we had discussed it with the right people in South Africa, and people concerned on both sides were following it out of the way of the normal relationships we should be having. And building a good relationship going forward. Then this one comes up and say, I met these people. Oh, I was pleasantly surprised. They are ready for a dialogue with the government of Rwanda, and so on and so forth. Now, if it was actually normal, we can talk about dialogue, we can talk about that sounds good. But what was not normal, as it came to my attention when I saw it, was that anything like that would first come through the media. There hasn't been any communication about it, about the meeting, about the surprise, about anything to do with dialogue. It just comes out of the media. In fact, when it was brought to my attention, I asked some of our officials, I said, were you aware of anything that has been building up to this? He said, no, there hasn't been a single moment of discussion on that matter. So I tried to ask them, so what do you think is the problem? Then a long story, which I just don't want to repeat here. But to cut the story short then, it becomes that thing where some individuals, even working for government, may think they would rather deal with some groups or some individuals outside of any country or country's government, and prefer that to actually relating to government. That was my interpretation, my immediate interpretation, until I'm told otherwise.